Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. Also, richarddwyer.com for those looking for legal advice. Remember, the opinion you should follow should be your own. Just consider this video to be a second opinion from a complete stranger online. Just a little social commentary here today, not a fight prediction. Boxers don't owe us fans anything. They're already risking their lives in the ring. Quite frankly, they can spend their time outside of the ring doing whatever they want to do with whoever they want to do it with, right? This isn't team sports. The brand they're protecting isn't some team logo. It's actually their own brand, and they can treat it however they want, right? Many of these fighters have the same managers, people like Al Heyman. The sport is much more interconnected and incestuous than any of us want to believe. But I'm a fan with an agenda, right? I view these championships as rival kingdoms, right? In fact, I view these entourages really as rival groups, right? When Manny Pacquiao shows up for a fight with his entourage, with his clique, that's his crew. And I view the other crew for his opponent as literally a rival kingdom, right? These fighters are not just individuals. These fighters literally are rival realities, right? Rival groups competing for the throne. And so, between these kingdoms, I don't want treaties. I want wars, right? So, in terms of who these fighters outside the ring hang out with, I don't mind Vitaly Klitschko being friends with or hanging out with Juan Manuel Marquez, because these two guys are in different weight classes. As great as they are in the ring, they're not going to fight each other in the ring, right? Boxing has weight divisions, right? We understand that, welterweight or junior welter isn't heavyweight, right? So I don't mind the Vitaly Klitschkos of the world hanging out with the Juan Manuel Marquez's of the world, right? I don't mind the Vitaly Klitschkos of the world hanging out with the Larry Holmeses of the world. Larry Holmes, great champion, but he's retired, right? And so even though both of the guys are heavyweights, they're not really competing with each other, right? There's no possibility that Larry Holmes is suddenly going to unretire, hop in the ring, and fight Vitaly Klitschko, right? So when I see a current fighter hanging out with a past fighter, a retired fighter, I got no problem with that. But what I don't want to see, what makes me uneasy, is if I were to see Vitaly Klitschko palling around with David Haye, right? These two guys are rival kings, right? These two guys have their own kingdoms, different trainers, right? Different parts of the heavyweight division. And so I don't want to see these guys as best friends or as, club buddies, mates, as they say overseas, right? I don't want to see these guys whooping it up, calling each other bro, professing love for each other, having hug fests. I don't want to see that. I want to see two heavyweights competing for the throne with a certain sense of uneasiness. I'm one of those fans who actually enjoys watching these face-offs before fights, like on HBO or Showtime, where the fighters look uneasy. And as you're watching the telecast, you're saying, wow, here are the two guys together. And even when they fought each other in the past, like Pacquiao and Marquez, you just get the feeling that there are differences of opinion, different approaches, right? Different beliefs among the guys as to who's the best, right? You don't get the feeling that they've just left the pub together, they're friends, they have each other on speed dial, they're buddies, they know the same people, they hang out in the same places. I don't want that. Let me also point out too that older fighters are slick. Older fighters will look out on the terrain, see a young lion in their division, look at his films and say, oh man, I don't want to deal with this dude in the ring, right? And so old guys, if they befriend you, and keep in mind, I'm in my late 40s, I'm an old guy. Sometimes when old guys befriend young guys, it's with an agenda. So when I see an older Hall of Famer, Bernard Hopkins, still world class, I'd take Bernard today if he were to fight Jean Pascal a third time, right? World class fighter, can hang with young lions. But I see a Bernard Hopkins and he's friends with Andre Ward. And in every interview, Bernard Hopkins wants you to believe that Andre Ward is practically a member of his family. And that he has so much respect for Andre Ward that he would never fight Andre Ward. And you're thinking, you got to be kidding. Aren't these guys around the same weight class? Isn't this super middle, light, heavyweight? In fact, didn't Hopkins fight Jean Pascal, who fought Chad Dawson, who fought Andre Ward? Aren't these guys literally fighting the same group of fighters? I don't like the idea of Hopkins and Ward being so close that the two guys have announced they're not going to fight each other. Don't get me wrong, I love the respect. Both of those guys deserve a lot of respect. I understand the mutual respect they have for each other. But, if their close friendship is going to deny us an opportunity to see them in the ring, I got a problem with that. Well, let me tell you what I have a real big problem with. And yeah, it's sour grapes, and yeah, I'm just a fan with an agenda. Keep in mind, I'm not saying I'm being fair or even reasonable. I'm just telling you that I'm a fan with an agenda, right? What I got a real big problem with is when I see two of the best fighters in the sport pound for pound. A dream matchup. One that I want to see. Adrien Broner and Floyd Mayweather. And keep in mind, Broner's had problems making weight, right? Mayweather apparently is talking about not fighting at 154 for his next fight, but fighting at 147 for his next fight. Now, in a sport where Manny Pacquiao once fought Oscar De La Hoya, is it a stretch to envision Broner against Mayweather? Wouldn't that be one hell of a fight? Two defensive wizards, two guys who come in and both have that shoulder roll and that high left shoulder, right? Both guys with great left hooks, both guys comfortable up on the ropes, both guys with hand speed, both guys with personality. Isn't this the kind of high-level fight that just has you drooling? Isn't this the kind of fight that you would actually set time to watch? Right? Well, all I'm saying is, apparently these guys have been hanging out. I have a video on my channel page here on YouTube where they're sitting at the same table and Mayweather starts calling Adrien Broner his little brother. Hey guys, come on now. This isn't a hip-hop tour where you're, sharing the same bill. This is boxing. You guys are supposed to be competitors, not brothers, right? I mean, all I'm saying is, hey, Adrien, if you want to hang out with a great fighter, hang out with Andre Ward, some guy in a different weight class who fans understand you're not going to fight, right? Hang out with Vitaly Klitschko, right? Guys understand that. But I don't want to see Adrien Broner hanging out with Floyd Mayweather. Worse yet, you and I know what's coming. Mayweather's going to say, hey, I don't want to fight Adrien. He's family. Right? Well, hey, look. I hate to wreck the family dinner, but come on, I'm a fight fan. I want to see the best against the best. Right? I don't want to hear that the best are best friends or brothers. And because of that, they don't want to fight each other. Could you imagine if Carl Froch had this attitude? If Carl Froch suddenly announced that he was good buddies with Mikhail Kessler, and so as a result, they're not going to hop back in the ring together? Or let's say that Lucien Bute suddenly said, you know what? When I went to the UK, Carl Froch treated me with such respect, and I love the country so much that I can't fight Carl Froch again. Come on, that's not the way boxing is. I was one of those guys who actually enjoy watching the David Haye, Derek Chisora drama unfold, right? The guys being upset, the guys being uneasy. When they announced the fight, the guys had some kind of shield between the two of them. I don't mind after the fight Derek Chisora being gracious and saying, hey, I got beaten. David's better than I thought. Okay, after the fight, great. I don't mind if after the fight Adrien Broner and Floyd Mayweather say, wow, he is better than I thought. He's a great fighter. This was a struggle. But come on, I don't want to hear before the fight, he's my brother. He's a member of my family. You know what? Have family members in different weight classes. Don't have family members so close to your weight class that it negates big fights. Let me just say this too, to Adrien Broner, because he's younger than Floyd. Please, don't become best friends with Yorkis Gamboa. We want to see that fight, right? I'd be more impressed by a good fight between Broner and Yorkis Gamboa than I would seeing them sitting at the same table like I see Broner sitting at the same table in that video with Floyd Mayweather talking about how they're brothers. Okay, let's remember, this isn't some music tour or some music community. This is sport. This is boxing. It's a competition, right? Fans want to see who's the best, right? The way to work the sport is how David Haye worked the sport when he showed up to the Chisora Vitaly Klitschko press conference to heckle Vitaly Klitschko, to heckle the champion. That's what I want to see. Okay, I want to see a guy who enters a room convinced that he is the best in his division, and to prove it to all of us, he's going to go in and heckle the champ and demand a fight and ask the champ why he's ducking him. Years ago, Shane Mosley beat a guy, was in the press conference, and a then unknown, one of my favorites, Vernon Forrest, showed up, was real polite, raised his hand. Shane Mosley saw him, was exasperated, and then Forrest proceeded to say, Shane, I beat you in the amateurs. When are you going to give me an opportunity in the pros? That's what I want to see, right? What I don't want to see is Vernon Forrest show up and say, hey, my brother, hey, he's my good friend. The champ, he and I are close. He's a member of my family. Look, no. I want to see guys fighting each other. As I said before, I don't want to see treaties. I want to see wars. This is boxing. I have no problem with guys respecting each other. I'm sure Carl Froch and Mikhail Kessler, after 12 rounds, have a lot of respect for the other person. And I'm sure they realize that they've lived the same lives in some respects, right? Championship fighter, training for fights, fighting in foreign lands, being part of tournaments, stuff like that. Dealing with injuries, dealing with promoters, dealing with managers. Okay, I understand the kinship. But please, don't tell us you're brothers. Don't tell us that some other guy in your division is a member of your family. Have family members in other divisions. Right? Have family members who are retired. You know, I got no problem with Juan Manuel Marquez being very good friends with Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., right? Or even Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. But I don't want to see Juan Manuel Marquez being good friends with Robert Guerrero. Okay, that's not, to me, it's like, hey, guys, solve that in the ring, right? Let's keep things in the ring. I don't want to see competitors hugging up each other outside of the ring and stuff like that, right? If Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao get together, I don't want them to have a friendship until after they fight. Okay? It would be a catastrophe for the sport if suddenly Manny Pacquiao starts talking about Floyd Mayweather as if he's a member of his family and his brother. Then we see videos of the two guys sitting down together, talking about traveling together and stuff like that. Adrien Broner, if I were you, I would view Floyd Mayweather as a competitor. I don't care if the two of you share Al Heyman as a manager. I would look at Floyd Mayweather and I would think, hey, what Floyd has, I want. You know, Floyd's legacy is something I want. You know, Floyd right now is trying to erase Sugar Ray Robinson from the record book. He's trying to eclipse him. I'm sure he has a lot of respect for Sugar Ray Robinson. You should be looking at Floyd as a contemporary, and you should be thinking to yourself, when can I get this guy in the ring? When can I have my kingdom go up against his? Right? Young guys, young lions especially, need to look at the old guy at the table with suspicion. Let me hear from you. Leave your comments for me here online. Am I way out of line here, saying I'd rather Adrien Broner be as uneasy around Floyd Mayweather as David Haye was when he sat down for the face-off with Vladimir Klitschko and Max Kellerman, right? Am I out of line when I say I would rather Carl Froch and Mikhail Kessler continue to have respect from a distance rather than be buddies up close, right? Am I being too hard? Or are Floyd and Adrien Broner being a bit too cozy right now? Let me hear from you. Thanks for watching.